meeting of the 24th of October to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Loudon?
Here.
Mr. Pavani?
Here.
Mr. Razor?
Present.
Mr. Reel?
Here.
Mrs. Bednar? Here. Mr. Costello?
Here.
Mr. D'Antonio?
Here. All please rise for the prayer of tonight by Ward 3 Councilman Brian Loudon. The pledge of allegiance will be led by Cub Scout Pack 3177.
Dear Lord, we come before you this evening. We would ask that you would give us the strength and the wisdom to make the decisions we need to make here this evening. We would also ask that you look over our men and women in uniform, especially those that may be serving in harm's way, helping to protect our freedoms and ensure our liberties. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have 40 minutes of the council meeting of 10 October. With your pleasure.
Move to approve.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed say no. Minutes stand approved. Reading communications. Senator.
All correspondence has been taken care of or referred to the appropriate committee.
Thank you. Committee reports. Mr. Razor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did not hold a road and safety committee this week. I would have to answer any of his questions.
Any questions for Mr. Razor? Mr. Pavani.
Yes, public improvement study this past Monday, and we discussed the motion to approve Matthew Aloisi to go ahead and be on the board of zoning appeals, board of building and zoning appeals. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Pavani? Ms. Bednar.
Yes, sorry, yes, we did, public improvements. We did have a meeting, this Monday, and all the legislative items, are appearing on this evening, actually for a second reading.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Bednar? Mr. Rear.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance met Monday in these chambers. We have a motion before us under new business. We also have 2 items in legislative form. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Rear? We had a public hearing on Monday evening to discuss roll-off dumpsters, and we had a committee of the whole meeting this evening to discuss appropriations for 2014, which are on tonight's agenda. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Seeing none, now comes the time of the meeting where we ask for comments from the audience. Should you wish to make any comments, please raise your hand and be recognized by the President of Council. You will be asked to provide your name and address to the benefit of the clerk, because our comments will become part of the permanent record of this council meeting. You will be allowed 3 minutes to make your comments. Before I ask if there's any comments from the audience, Cub Scout Pack 3177, who led us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, is here. They're working on their citizenship badges, so I'm going to give them an opportunity if they would like to ask any questions first. Step up to the microphone and give us your name and address. You can pull that down so it's a little closer to you.
My name is Thomas Berger.
Okay, you have a question for us?
How many total council members do you have?
Total council members here, we have 7.
I mean, all together, if everyone was here.
7. All 7. Only 7 of us are council members. We have the mayor, law director down there, along with Mr. Barrett, who's finance. We've got engineering down at the other end over here. There's only 7 elected council members. Any other questions from Cub Scout Pack? leaders have any questions? Okay. Now I'll take comments from anybody else in the audience. If you wish, raise your hand. Be recognized, please step forward. Yes, ma'am. You can pull that up.
Terry May, 3425 Margaret Avenue. As you all already know by now, I'm sure, as the plan currently exists for Mahafer's expansion, I am totally against vacating Yukon and rezoning. Because of Mr. Mahafer's adamant refusal, and again, this is as the plan stands right now, adamant refusal to submit a Plan B, and is no offer of compromise, we should no longer entertain the idea of his taking of just 2 properties and leaving the third with deed restrictions, which were offered more than once in our effort to compromise. Much has been said about us knowing there was a car dealership at the end of the road. The dealership hadn't even expanded to the east of Yukon when I bought my home. The flip side of that statement is Mr. Mahafer knew there were homes, a residential neighborhood, right next to his initial expansion. Homes older than his 1933 dealership franchise, homes built in the 1920s. Expansion will have an immediate negative effect on property values. Decreasing property values will result in a decrease in neighborhood quality, decreasing the desirability of this historically child-safe, family-friendly neighborhood. This is not a blighted area in need of rejuvenation. There is seldom a turnover in home ownership, many homeowners being here 20 plus years. We should seek to strike a balance as a city. No business should be allowed to invade residential neighborhoods or be shown preferential treatment just because of monetary contributions to the community. Mr. Mahafer's generosity to the community has been duly noted. No one is arguing the fact that he is a respected businessman, but this does not give entitlement to special consideration from the city. Mr. Mahafer's reward should be the satisfaction that occurs from giving the gifts and knowing they will help in perpetuating the very excellent Stow environment that has been so good to him. By his own testimony, this proposal doesn't give him what he needs. Where will it end? When the whole neighborhood has become Ron Mahafer's mega mall autoplex? Why are we even considering it? If according to Mayor Drew, we have a ton of shovel-ready commercial property to be developed, why are we destroying homes in one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city? In some of my meetings with you, you were asked how you would vote if you lived in Mark Ryland's house right next door. I did not receive a straight answer from any of those asked. Why? Could it be that not one of us wants a car dealership parking lot next door that is detrimental to our home values and quality of life? So much so that Mr. Mahafer felt monetary compensation was necessary, and that was turned down, for it is not about the money, but the quality of life and protecting something we value above all else. If living next to a car dealership is so wonderful and acceptable, why don't any of you or Mr. Mahafer live next door to a car dealership? You didn't choose to? Neither did we. As we are all aware, council is elected by the residents of Stow to represent the residents of Stow. I implore you, please vote not only with your head, but with your heart. And again, I would like to extend the invitation to come sit on my front porch. Only one of you, to my knowledge, has accepted that invitation. You have all been to Mahafer's, I'm sure, at one time or another. Please grant us the same courtesy to personally visualize what this destruction will do to our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Mark Ryland, with 1961 Thornhill Avenue, and you might guess I may be speaking about the same issue. I continue to express my opposition for this zoning change and this proposal as it stands for the encroachment of the Markle dealership in our neighborhood. Because the zoning change in this proposed project goes completely against the Stow Charter and Stow Comprehensive Plan, this measure should be voted down. Additionally, the mayor has stated that Stow is lucky to have shovel-ready land for growth and expansion. If this is true, why are we considering rezoning a viable, beautiful, well-established neighborhood for the benefit of one business, especially considering that the entire encroachment for this is a parking lot for inventory vehicles, a parking lot that could be easily located anywhere in Stow. This is utterly absurd. I would also point out that implementing this zoning change will set a dangerous precedent in Stow, sending a message to other business owners that purchasing less expensive residential property and having these zoning changes made is the way to go for less expensive expansion. I would point out to you that a measure like this might come before you again, but the next time it comes before you, it may be in your neighborhood. And I would ask you, how would you vote on that? Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Doris Stewart, the Stow Mineral Falls Chamber of Commerce, and I live at 3821 Lakefront Boulevard in Stow, but this evening I'm here on behalf of the Stow Mineral Falls Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. I'm going to go ahead and just read this for you. Okay. The Stow Mineral Falls Chamber of Commerce has been a strong voice for business in Stow Mineral Falls since 1965. Our mission directs us to promote, support, and serve our members and encourage economic development in the local and regional area, to provide leadership, benefits, and services to improve the quality of life in Stow Mineral Falls. In keeping with this mission, the Stow Mineral Falls Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors approved the following resolution of support at its October 10, 2013 monthly board meeting. Resolution number 2013-2, that's for our reference, resolution of support for the change in zoning request by Mahoffer Chevrolet for the 3 properties located at 1941, 1947, and 1955 Thorndale Avenue from R3 to C3 properties based on the following. Whereas the Planning Commission of the City of Stow recommended approval of this request at the September 10, 2013 Planning Commission meeting. Whereas Mahoffer Chevrolet is expecting to make a significant investment of approximately $5 million in property improvements if the zoning and site plan is approved. Whereas it affects an established business that has been operating in the neighborhood as a car dealership for several decades. Whereas it allows for a significant improvement and investment into the dealership site, commercial area, that could include the vacation improvement of Yukon-Darrow Road intersection. Whereas Ron Mahoffer currently owns all 3 of these properties, 1941, 1947, and 1955. Whereas the zoning change will enable this longtime Stow business to expand, improve, and grow its operation where it has thrived for decades. Whereas the dealership continues to bring revenue into the City of Stow through payroll and property taxes, is a major monetary supporter of community activities and significant projects that improve the quality of life of our residents, and it is a well-respected business in the community. Whereas this resolution supports the economic development commitment of this Chamber's mission statement, therefore be it resolved by the Stow Mineral Falls Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors that the Stow Mineral Falls Chamber of Commerce wholly supports this issue and encourages Stow City Council members to support its passage. Thank you.
Thank you, Doris. Could you give a copy of that to the clerk?
Do you need it? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a second.
Yep.
Okay. My name is Rachel Killinger. I live at 45 East Orchard Avenue. That's actually in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am the youngest daughter of Bud and Terry May. And while I may not live on Thorndale Avenue, I do have a vested interest in the future of this decision. Not only for my parents, but for the future of my entire family. Most of those members who are in this room tonight. For the first 18 years of my life, I I grew up riding a bike up and down Thorndale Avenue. And for the latter half of those years, I learned to drive sitting in my father's lap up and down Thorndale Avenue. I don't think we can get in trouble for that now. I came here tonight not to ask you to decide one way or another on this proposition. I came here tonight to ask you to listen, to open both your hearts and your minds, not only on this night, but on every night moving forward about this very matter. Because it's about more than just a business decision. It's about a neighborhood. I ask you to listen to my family, to my neighbors. The final decision rests with you. And I have to believe that you're going to make the right decision, because the future of all of these families lies with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Sarah Moody. I live at 2854 Progress Park Drive. I'm the older and way better sister of Bud and Terry. Well, not their sister, I'm their daughter, but it's a tough act to follow of my younger sister that's in the room with us tonight, but I do appreciate her coming and supporting the family. As she mentioned, this is a very deep issue for our family, and we represent the type of residents who would want to live in this city. We care very much, not only about the people on our street, not only about the neighborhood, but about business as well. We've both chosen professions in business. So we understand, as there's been representation tonight from the Chamber of Commerce, why this would be a great idea for the city and for Mr. Mulhofer. What I'm asking you to do tonight is to consider all of the implications and what's on the table before you. I'm going to ask you one question, and this will follow up to my sister, supposedly listening to what we have to say. Is our city for sale? Is it? Can someone who's an established businessman, who has more money than all the residents on our block combined, persuade you to rezone 3 residences in favor of his plan, a plan of which he has not to date supported a Plan B? He has not gone to the residents willingly and said, here's my Plan B, what can I do for you? The very people I built my business on, what can I do for you? We have all acknowledged we want to work with Mr. Mulhofer. What I'm asking you to do is to consider that big business, or any business, is not the only person in this city. Collectively as a whole, the residents represent just as much. And to dismiss our concerns for the sake of someone that has more money, that can contribute more money individually than we can, is not following our comprehensive plan. It's not in the best interest of the city. We have to find a way to exist together, comprehensively, both business and residents. The frustration on our part has to do with the fact that we are not being provided compromises, Plan Bs, or addressing any of our concerns to date. We ask you to consider, if you do this, and you listen more to someone because they represent more money to our city, aren't you, by example, setting a precedent that money in our city is for sale?
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir. All the way back.
Go ahead.
Please.
Cheryl Tuchenko, 1970 Thorndale Avenue, Stow, Ohio. Just wanted on record that I oppose the existing plan for the Mulhofer expansion. I don't agree with intruding into a neighborhood. We would like to request some transparency in Mulhofer's efforts to explore alternative options. When we asked him if he offered Stow Glass and State Farm at least market value for the properties, he stated yes, above fair market value, but we said, can we see some proof, or can you tell us how much? He didn't know the figure, he left it up to his real estate agent. I would ask council to please try and make sure that all the alternatives have been looked into, and show us that every effort has been made, and that this is the only plan that would work for him. He stated that he couldn't move to another location that are available, but he could go down Kent Road towards Kent. But that the near 9-acre commercial lot that's available for $148,000 wasn't a viable option. We've been asked if we could get a reason why. Like I said, we're just asking questions to make sure that this is the only option that he has, and we would ask council to please try and look into that before making your decision. And I understand nobody wants Marhoffer to fail. We want him to succeed. We supported him when he lost his franchise. We need him in the city. We like him here. But I'm sure if it was in any other, Doris Mong mentioned they support, I'm sure they would feel differently if it was in their neighborhood. Thank you.
Well, since the attorney gave up his seat I guess I have to let it come up. You'll regret it. You got 3 minutes.
I have 3 minutes. I'm not going to start until I distribute all these to council members, the mayor, and Mr. Reale. Perhaps I could ask you to distribute to all the council members, Mr. Reale, and also a copy for the planning director.
You're not service with the lawsuit here, are you?
Not yet. In the notebook is a memo concerning an interchange that took place between Mr. Loudermilk and the planning director at a planning committee of council meeting, which basically Mr. Loudermilk asked some very critical questions concerning the consistency of the proposed rezoning with the comprehensive plan. And I encourage you to read it. I have taken the effort to not only provide you complete copies of the comprehensive plan, but also to provide you copies of provisions from your own zoning code which expressly adopt the comprehensive plan as the basic planning guideline document for the city of Stow. Contrary to any implications or intimations that the comprehensive plan is a vague planning document that is not useful in terms of guiding your decisions, you'll find that the zoning code states exactly the opposite. It prescribes it, adopts it, recommends it, endorses it, refers to it directly and indirectly throughout the zoning code. I also want to make an objection tonight to any further readings of the proposed rezoning. A copy of that objection is included in your notebook, but I will highlight it here. I object on behalf of Doug and Allison Burley of 1969 Thorndale Avenue to any further readings of the rezoning request because Section 1137.08C3 of the Codified Ordinance of Stowe requires that the Planning Commission's recommendation to City Council shall include the specific reasons upon which the recommendation of the Planning Commission is based. The only thing that had been forwarded to City Council as the basis of proceeding on the rezoning request are the minutes of the meeting of September 10th, 2013, in which the Planning Commission indicated that the potential for improving the Kent-Darrow Road intersection was a consideration in the decision. That is not a specific reason of your planning commission charged with the enforcement of the zoning codes of Stow. That is not a specific reason sufficient to form the basis of any council action. I would also renew my objection formally made under section 113708 Charlie 1H that the application for rezoning itself fails to meet the requirements of an application for rezoning because it fails to state the purpose of the rezoning and fails to state how the proposed rezoning is consistent with the comprehensive plan. You are entitled to information from the Planning Commission concerning the comprehensive plan and how the rezoning fits into the comprehensive plan. Why? Because the Planning Commission was the organ or the entity within the Stow City government that proposed the comprehensive plan for adoption by City Council. And the comprehensive plan is made explicitly part and parcel of your zoning code. There is no such thing as a vague comprehensive plan over here that doesn't really have much meaning and that people can cite for and against an issue like some people talk about the Bible being able to be quoted for anything.
You've reached 4 minutes.
Therefore, I ask you, read the comprehensive plan as an integrated whole. Read it fairly, and you will make the right decision.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is David Barnwell. I live at 1970 Thorndale Avenue. I really wasn't going to get up and speak tonight, but I just wanted to make a few comments. I appreciate the Chamber of Commerce making a point to recommend and endorse this resolution for rezoning of properties. I don't quite think they understand all the facts. I was a previous business owner in the city of Stow and on the board of directors of the Stow Monroe Falls Chamber of Commerce, and I was also on the Economic Development Committee. So I kind of see both sides, and we do want Ron Marhofer to succeed, but I do strongly oppose the current resolution the way it stands. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Joe Rulo, 1962 Thorndale. I'm going to live across the street from this mess. I don't want to see a parking lot there, so I'm definitely against this rezoning. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. We'll go into first report.
Thank you. Just a few quick items, all of which I think are pretty uplifting and fun and good things for our community. A couple reminders, tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock here in City Hall, we are having our second annual indoor trick-or-treat opportunity for families. We've invited the community as well as our city employees to bring children, grandchildren, come trick-or-treat. Departments will have candy. I believe the Parks Department might have some activities. We may have a few city employees in costumes, so you can check that out. We do encourage families to come. It'll be from 3 o'clock to 4:30 tomorrow afternoon, and especially if the weather will be chilly on Saturday, we encourage you to bring little ones here indoors tomorrow where it's nice and warm. Our traditional trick-or-treat is this Saturday from 5:30 to 7:30. So if you want to brave the elements and go out in your neighborhood, again, that's 5:30 to 7:30 this Saturday night. And if you want to participate in handing out candy, be sure to turn your porch light on so families know to stop at your house. Also, I think that everyone has probably had an opportunity to be pretty amazed by our new art installations here at City Hall. If you haven't had a chance to stop and take a look, we have 3 installations behind the receptionist desk in the lobby, as well as pictures and frames throughout the 1st and 2nd floor. All of this artwork has been brought to City Hall as part of a permanent